Heat up your frozen dinners, grab your TV tray, and settle in for another episode of the Plus Platoon, your podcast for all things Disney Plus, brought to you by Disney Plus fans. Watch along with us every week as we cover all the new, the old, the good, and the bad on Disney Plus. So put down that remote, don't touch that dial, and welcome your fabulous Plus Platoon host.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Plus Platoon. We're a Disney Plus fan podcast that gives honest, spoiler-filled reviews of movies and shows on Disney Plus. We'll look at new releases, coming attractions, and we'll even go back into the vault to revisit some of the classic Disney that's on the platform. Make sure you're subscribed and you will never miss a moment. I'm going to bring in Pete this week. Pete, good to see you.
Hey, Derek, great to see ya. That's my Kate.
Okay, yeah, that's about the only thing you could do. Yeah.
that's my entire Kate impression.
Yeah. Kate can't be with us this week, but we do have Steve. Steve, how you doing?
I'm hanging in there. How are you?
Hey, Steve. Hanging in there. You're done with school, right?
I am. I don't know which day it is. Oh, actually, no, it's Tuesday because usually we record on Tuesday.
Yeah, we're recording on Tuesday. Yeah,
but I usually lose which day it is. So.
Guys, if you have not already, please like, subscribe, share. That way we will you'll always be ready for what we've got coming up. So this week we are looking at the new Star Wars Acolyte show. We've had 4 episodes based on when we taped this. And we'd like to take on some of these longer ones, we'd like to take a look at what's been going on so far. What do we like? What do we hope for the rest of the show? So if you have not watched the first 4 episodes, which is through episode, I think Day is the name of it. Pause this right now, go watch them, and then come back. Or save yourself about 2.5 hours and listen to Pete for about the next 2 minutes, and he's going to let you know what's going on. So Pete, take it away.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be too many major spoilers because I don't think we know that much from what we've been given so far. But so anyways, this story takes place in an earlier time than any of the other TV shows or movies so far. There have been some novels around this period. But anyways, this is what's known as the High Republic. So if you think about the Republic that fell in the prequels, this is that republic that is still ruling the galaxy in pseudo peace, and the Jedi are still the major peacekeepers of the galaxy. But however, there is someone that's going around killing Jedi, and they're not sure who it is for a very short time. They eventually think that it is this one girl named Osha who was rescued by some Jedi from a planet, and very quickly figure out, we figure it out almost immediately when they mentioned that she has a twin sister, but they figured out pretty quickly as well that she has a twin sister named May. They both came from a planet, and the group of Jedi that came to that planet and resulted in Osha leaving, and May ended up starting a fire and maybe killing a bunch of people. We don't know. I don't think we currently know the full story, even though they had a flashback episode about it. But I think the flashback episode did not tell us the whole story. It told us Osha's perspective, not the reality, I think. Anyways, Osha thought May was dead. May thought Osha was dead. Osha went off to become a Jedi, but she didn't make it. In this show, the Jedi find her, think she's the one that's guilty, but then they figure out May is the one that's killing the Jedi. At least 3 of the Jedi are killed by the time we're to. 3 of the 4 that were listed, and the 4th one is in this new team of Jedi. And as we get to the end, May, because she has found out that her sister is still alive, decides to stop killing Jedi and go and find her sister. And at that point, her master makes himself known And that's where we leave off at the end of this last episode, that he comes out of the mist and attacks a group of about 8 Jedi. And the episode cuts off just as it's getting exciting. We hope. How's that for a summary?
That works for me. So,
Yep.
Steve, I'm then going to start with you. So far, what is working in this series for you?
I'm liking the mystery aspects. I talk more. I have both sides of things I don't like. I'm sort of like the mystery aspect. I really like that they're not dragging things out. Like I like that things are being resolved pretty quickly. I could see the whole entire season going where we would not find out that they're twins. So I picked up on that like immediately. But it's things like that. I like the mystery aspect. I like it that you really need no really background Star Wars knowledge beyond who are the Jedi and stuff of to really appreciate it. So you're sort of on the same level playing field as Pete and Gina in terms of Star Wars knowledge. I'd say those two things. I'm finding some of the characters interesting, some of the other characters not so much. I'm intrigued. I was talking like earlier, I'm not intrigued enough where I'm dying to see the next episode. So,
okay. Yeah, I would agree that I love the fact that you don't if you know who the Jedi are and have an idea about what the Force is, you're as caught up as anybody else at this point. I think coming up, some of the inside knowledge is going to be, by the end of this, if you have some inside knowledge, you'll be a step ahead of everybody else. I think that I like the fact that at least some of the characters are done with practical effects as opposed to it all being CGI. Now, in this episode, we saw a couple that were CGI, but also in 3, the gal that is the same race as Darth Maul was all practical effects.
Mm-hmm.
Where some other people, Marvel, would have just done it with some really bad CGI. Now, Steve, you used the word "it's moving quickly," and I do not think that means what you think it means. But we will get into that here in just a little bit. So, Pete, what else is working?
Yeah, I like that. Even as someone that knows the lore, I like that, like, you're not reliant on having seen 5 previous things to understand to understand the story. You know, I think having a moderate expectation of knowing Star Wars to watch a Star Wars show, you know, as you say, to know that there's Jedi and the bad guys have red lightsabers and, you know, very base level stuff is acceptable, but it's a lot harder. Like, I really enjoyed the Ahsoka series, but I could see why someone that didn't have an in-depth knowledge would watch that show and go, what the heck's going on? And so I feel like this is something that anybody can follow along with what's going on. And I agree with what you guys are saying. Like, there's a little bit of mystery here. They're not doling it out like the I don't know. Some of it they're doling out too slow, but like pieces of it, at least we're getting information and we know what's going on. You know, the flashback episode was episode 3 as opposed to waiting till like episode 7. So that was nice. I almost wish they had done that right up front though. You know, and just given us
Had that be episode either 1 or 2.
Yeah. But and well, I'll save some of that for the negative. And I like Steve said, I like some of the actors. I think some of the actors are doing a good job.
Some
not
of
all of them.
Not.
Yeah, some of them are not. And I'm sure we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
So
okay. Well, Pete, I'm gonna let you lead off on this the next part then. What needs to be helped in the second half? What if you could have gone in after watching these first 4 and say, okay, this, and this needs to be fixed, what would you fix?
I don't think there's a lot of strong characters in this show. I don't know how to fix that. I don't know if it's because there's too many characters, but like I feel like we got a lot of very bland characters, so I kind of wish they would focus more on the little more on just the relationship between Saul and Osha, I guess, which seems to be intended to be the heart of the show, but then they bring in all these other Jedi for scenes, and it seems like a lot of the characters getting lost in that. And they also need to pick up the pace because this show is slow, and that worked for Andor, but
yeah,
so
not this. It doesn't work.
Yeah. So, but yeah, this show, it's not very good so far. In fact, like the last 30 seconds of the 4th episode was like, oh, this is gonna get good. Oh, it's over. So let's hope it can get better. Steve, what do you think?
I totally agree with you. So my comment is, I like how they're revealing information quickly, but the pacings of the show are a slog. Like they need more action or something. I also agree. I don't have feeling no connection to any of the characters, so I don't know if that's the writing or it's the acting. By now, you think you'd feel something from May or Osha, and I have nothing. My issue this last episode is May's sudden turn deciding all of a sudden, well, I'm not going to complete the mission now. I felt that was sort of just dropped at a strange point. That really bothered me. The other thing that bothers me, if this is supposed to be like 100 years before the first Star Wars movies, the technology is the same. You'd think a society would be advancement, or if this was 100 years ago, your technology would be a little bit not as fine-tuned. So that was, I mean, that's nitpicking, but I'm going, oh, lightsabers haven't changed in 100 years.
And that I can understand. To me, though, I didn't see when they were on Coruscant. I will say I did not see as many cars in the sky.
Okay.
You'd have to see it side by side, but I watch a show that kind of goes in depth on it, and they did point out that there's clearly less built up. Coruscant is less built up in this series than in previous series. If you look at where the Jedi Temple is and what's around it, so there is a little bit of that. But I'd still agree with you, Steve, that like it doesn't look like there's any technological advances in the 100 years between the show, but heck, there wasn't any in the 60 years of other Star Wars other than a rollerball droid.
Yeah. For me, Pete, my biggest thing is, oh my gosh, is this slow? Oh my gosh, is this slow? The flashback episode could have been a 5 to 10 minute flashback.
Yes, 100%.
And should have been. These first 4 episodes could have been 2.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I mean, at most 2 episodes, because yes, we get it. They're sisters. Yes, we get it. One is suspected, one is not. One is struggling with the dark side, one is not. And that's all we know. I would say the last probably 15 minutes, Pete gave us the most information we've had this entire trip. And we'll talk about that when we get to predictions here in just a little bit. But if you listen to some of the dialogue in about the last 15 minutes, you learned a lot. I think.
Yeah, I think the 4th episode so far has been the best paced, but it was also like 23 minutes long, if you looked. So
exactly. Yeah. I mean, this is you talked about too many, all of a sudden they bring in 8 or 9 Jedi, and all of a sudden you've got all these different people coming in. It's like NCIS Coruscant, where all of a sudden this crew comes in, then this crew comes in, then this crew comes in, and they're all working together to solve this one problem. I think the throwaway line about, oh no, you don't need to let the Jedi Council know because then they'll have to tell the Senate. So that's how we're avoiding the main characters was kind of a cop out, to be perfectly honest, to me.
Yeah.
If you're going to be this slow, I better have some kind of connection to the original trilogy, and it's not going to. So it's just going to be, yeah. But then that leads us to predictions, and I'm going to lead off on this one because I've got a couple that I really think. Okay, the drug dealer / Kamar, I think is his name.
Mm-hmm.
I think is the guy in the mask with the red lightsaber, because he seems to know an awful lot about what's going on. He's spouting Sith beliefs,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of them, and it's one of those when you got to remember you got to get through this. You have to kill someone without. Oh, by the way, don't forget you have to kill someone without anything else.
Right.
I mean, I think that the only thing the flashback throws at you is the whole 2 will defeat 1 at some point in this, and probably either episode 7 or episode 8. The 2 sisters will work together to defeat whoever they're supposed to defeat.
Yeah.
That was telegraphed so loud, even Sam Morse would have known about it. But I just, other than those 2 things, I don't care. And that's a big part of the problem. So, Pete, what am I right? What am I wrong about?
Well, I was reading somewhere about the I can't think of the character's name, but the guy that was assisting
Kamar.
Kumar is his name.
Yeah, I think so.
Like if he ends up being the bad guy, it's a little bit of a someone called it like a Scooby-Doo quandary, where there's literally one character other than your main characters that can be the villain. And so if he's the villain, it's like, well, yeah, I guess that makes sense since we were not actually introduced to anyone else. So I'm kind of hoping
by the time you're halfway through the show, you should know who you have at least been introduced somewhat to the bad guy.
Yeah.
Or it's the gal. It's a female Darth Maul gal.
Yeah, one of the witches, right?
Yeah.
Would be the only other possibility. But on the other hand, why would they be training May in secret if that was the case? Because she would have known them. But I don't know. We'll find that out probably in the next episode. Maybe not in the next episode. But yeah, I don't know. There's Sith that are in historical is in a fake thing context of Star Wars before Palpatine / Darth Sidious, that they've talked about in other things. Is this person one of those Sith? I don't even know that. I'm thinking the Acolyte is actually going to be this Sith guy.
The guy, yeah.
Yeah. And so he's actually going to be like working for another Sith. He's Sith is the law of 2, right? There's always 2. And then in the meantime, the younger one is trying to find an apprentice for themselves so they can defeat the one above it. It's kind of stupid, but I don't know. They I kind of agree with you that he's the character that makes the most sense if it's a character we've met already. I am looking forward to finding out what really happened on
the planet where the fire was.
On the planet that Osha and May are from, because clearly there's guilt from all the characters that have all the Jedi that have died, except for Saul, which is the one character that was there that hasn't died. He doesn't seem to have a guilty conscience, but the other 3 all seem like they do. So I'm thinking something happened there that wasn't necessarily May's fault, and we're going to find out about it. And that's going to affect both Osha and May. I don't know, but I don't care that much because I just want it to be better. And so it needs to pick up the pace. It needs to have some better action. and you know, I mentioned it to you guys. This show cost like $180 million for the 6 episodes of television, which is like $22.5 million an episode. And I've seen none of that money so far.
Unless the Void is really expensive to run.
Yeah, I don't. Well, and they didn't. A lot of this wasn't Void. A lot of this was, they said, was practical.
Right.
So, you know, unless transporting everybody to whatever island they filmed on, some of that stuff. But yeah, I don't. It's if it doesn't pick up, this is not a successful show. I kind of hate the like. There's a lot of hate towards this show
review bombing
out there from Star Wars fans that are, you know, against the wokeness of Star Wars and are basically a bunch of idiots. And so I hate to propagate that, but unfortunately they're right in one thing, is that the show isn't very good. It isn't because it's woke. It's just not particularly well, it's not well paced more than anything. I think it's not well paced, and it's not, the characters aren't interesting. which is two pretty big problems.
Yeah.
Without having to worry about, oh, they used a pronoun for one of the characters. I mean, give me a break. So what about you, Steve? What do you think?
I agree with what everyone else has said. I think the Sith Lord Zippermouth, or whatever they're calling him, is either the smuggler guy or one of the prior witches that we saw. I mean, I think it would be more exciting if we went back to one of the prior witches, because that would be a callback. I predict that Saul is going to reveal what happens to Asha and May, and that's going to cause them to join forces and then defeat Zippermouth.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not one of the witches, because I was just looking over here on my Twitter feed and stuff, and it's a man's hand.
It's a man's hand. That's true.
Okay.
When you see,
So
yeah.
then it's the smugglers.
Yeah.
It's the scoundrel or whatever.
Or it could be one of the guys that broke out of the jail ship.
Oh, going all the way back from
I don't think so. But yeah, it's
but that would be a good, we revealed you, but you've totally forgot about
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah.
But
or it could, I mean, it generally could be someone we haven't met yet. That does happen, but
and halfway through is not too late to introduce a new baddie, the big
Right.
baddie, to unveil the big baddie.
or to reveal him, because we knew he was there. They first showed him at the end of the first episode. So yeah.
But I like Derek's idea that this Zippermouth is not really the Sith Lord. He's sort of like the second tier, or Pete said that.
Yeah.
And then there's another one. So that would be a little nice little twist. I haven't thought about that.
Because Pete, who was the guy before Palpatine? The big guy who trained Palpatine. It was
Plagius?
Yes, Plagius. Yeah. He was the one that was like working was he the one that was looking like with immortality and that kind of thing?
Yes, right.
Yeah. It's probably either going to be, the predictions are, it's either him or whoever trained him.
Right.
So, but a red lightsaber doesn't always mean Sith either. If the Star Wars visions are canon, red just means evil. Red does not necessarily mean dark side of the Sith.
All the Inquisitors that we saw in like Obi-Wan Kenobi and that had red lightsabers, and they were not Sith. They were
right.
technically just force trained Inquisitors. So yeah, it doesn't necessarily mean the person's a Sith.
And can we talk a little bit about how all of a sudden they showed that, you know, all these younglings that had to come from somewhere, basically they came and kidnapped them from their parents and said they're force sensitive. They're coming with us.
Yep.
However, let's please hope that in any more flashbacks, they don't actually name midichlorians again. Please. I mean, they took the blood sample, but
yeah,
I want to know why. I don't think they have said. The one flashback thing that they will, I think they're going to need to show, is why she was kicked out of the Jedi Order.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
and that I think that is a reveal. That's a reveal that they will do like a cliffhanger, either going into 7 or going into 8.
Yeah, I think so.
That's where I throw. I mean, let's say this, guys. We have 4 more weeks of this.
Well, and I will say, even though the plot is moving very slow, as Steve said, there are bits that I want to find out about, and that is one of them. I want to find out what really happened with the witches. So, like, it's enough. As Steve said, I'm not like, oh, I gotta watch this show. I can't wait till a new episode drops. But I do want to find out what happened. So I can't call the show like terrible because of that, because
Yeah,
it's keeping me a little invested. So it's not good, but it's not terrible. It's somewhere in the mediocre.
yeah. And it can still go either direction.
Yes, completely. Yeah.
Yeah. I think this week and next week will be big as far as whether I still care about this show or not.
I agree, because again, the 4th episode ended with a really, probably the best moment of the show so far. And if we go into the next episode and they don't build on that at all, and they just like,
I have to preview that the start of episode 5 is a great big fight between Zippermouth and the Jedi.
Okay, well, that's what I need.
Yeah.
if they just go, phew, we got out of that. Okay.
Yeah. So, okay. So we'll see what happens. We will be addressing this again when it's over. Because to be perfectly honest, next week we've got a show, and then we're going to be taking 2 weeks of, we will not be here. We've got a couple of shows we're going to be showing you, but we will not be here. So next time we'll really have a chance to talk about it will be after it's all over.
So keep watching us, though, because
yeah,
it'll be new shows.
Yes, it will definitely be new shows. We are definitely going to be doing new shows first couple weeks in July. I have a canoe trip I'm going to be on. He's going to be heading to Hawaii. So
I'm going to British Columbia.
Yeah, I mean, so
actually, I'm going to the Caribbean, not Hawaii.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm not. But anyway, sorry for being wrong. Not sorry for the fact
Steve
that
and I are swapping coasts.
Yeah, fair enough. So, okay, we do actually. Kate's not here, but we do actually have some Disney Plus news this week.
I'm excited about this news.
There's a couple of them. One, it has been confirmed that Andor season 2 will come in 2025 to Disney Plus. And that there will be people from Rogue One appearing in it. So it will be truly a massive setup for Rogue One into New Hope. Because the first one took place over a year. The next episode, basically, from what I've seen, like the first 2 episodes are another year. And then it's a year in between the episodes up until it's like right before Rogue One.
Yeah, it actually sounds like it's going to be 4 sets of 3 episodes.
There's 12?
There's 12 episodes, and it's going to be, the first season was actually 12 too.
Okay.
And
it's been long enough, I don't remember, to be perfectly honest.
And every 3 episodes is a year leading up.
Well, it'll hop forward like a year.
Yeah.
And the last 3 episodes will lead, basically, from what they've indicated, will literally lead into like the next thing that would happen would be the start of Rogue One.
Yeah. So, which I like. If you're going to do one of these intermittent series that's supposed to lead up to something, have it lead right up against it. Like like the Rogue One leading directly up against New Hope. Like it's within 12 hours of a New Hope type thing. They take off, then they go and basically they go chase them down.
Yep.
So, other one is a Marvel. Many rumors are swirling that Moon Knight will soon begin production on season 2, focusing mostly on the Jake Lockley persona, which was the cab driver at the end who turned around and shot the main bad guy. In talking with Micah, who was our resident Marvel expert when this was out, he is very much to call him an assassin isn't necessarily fair, but it's awfully darn close. He's an enforcer type thing. He's very much it's very black. Things are very black and white with him.
Yeah.
And the thought is they're going to be bringing in his main rival, which is Bushman, which was his main rival throughout most of the comic book run. So I actually hope that comes true, because I really enjoy, of the Marvel series, Moon Knight was probably my second favorite to WandaVision.
Yep.
So I hope
it was the last really great series that we've had. Like, the series since then have not been good.
I would agree. And I'm just going to say series in general, not just Marvel series.
Well, and was Andor before or after? I mean, Andor might have been after that.
If Andor was, I don't know, they were right around the same time.
Very, very close, but
it's both. No, it's not both Oscar Isaac. No. Who's in Andor? Oh, what's
Diego?
Him. Yeah, him. Yeah, the guy who played Andor in Rogue One. So yeah. Having Poe in Andor wouldn't have made any sense. So
no.
Okay, next week going to be 4th of July here in the United States, so we're going to be watching the original National Treasure movie. Nicolas Cage, Declaration of Independence, one that probably everyone has seen, and there might be a little bit of 4th of July trivia on this next episode. So keep your ear to the ground on maybe how you guys might be even able to participate in that trivia.
Nice.
So, guys, as I said, after next week, we're taking a couple week break. I'm going canoeing with my son up in Canada for 2 weeks. These guys are taking off. But after we come back, we have like the end of Acolyte and then one more show. And then there's not much coming out in July at all, or August, or September. We've got a couple shows planned, but oh my gosh, do we need suggestions? I will say we've had one suggestion. I believe it was from Dan Austin. If that's the case, then we will definitely look into that. Because we said we would.
Yeah. I would. I liked his suggestion, so yeah, I would be up for watching that. At least watching the first couple episodes and seeing if it's.
Which series is it? Do you remember? The Marvelous Nell or something like that?
Yeah, it's the one that's kind of like a English pirate. She's like it's pirate,
intriguing. I've watched the first 3 episodes.
Yeah.
So
do you remember the name of it? I can't remember the name.
It's Renegade Nell.
Yeah.
So Dan, if you're listening, we probably will do that episode. We probably will do that show at some point. Got to give us a few weeks to get a couple episodes watched. But if you're interested, Dan, we're gonna invite you on. Yeah, we're gonna invite you on. Let's talk to us about it. But guys, we will do that for anyone who gives us a suggestion that's not absolutely terrible. I'm sorry, there are some things we will not watch. We are not watching The Black Cauldron. I'm sorry, it's not happening. But just about anything else, hey, we'll give it a shot. Worst that can happen is we all give it bad grades. So, but Dan messaged us on Facebook. We are on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Insta, everything else. We have new episodes coming out every Thursday on YouTube and all the major podcasting services. For Pete and Steve, Kate and Gina in absentia, we will see everyone next week with National Treasure. Bye, guys.
May the force be.
Thanks for watching this week's episode of the Plus Platoon. Be sure to subscribe to the Plus Platoon podcast to keep getting great content each week. Then head over to Apple Podcast and leave those 5-star reviews, as they help make the Plus Platoon visible to even more Disney Plus fans. Also, go to YouTube and like and subscribe to the Plus Platoon channel, where you can watch all future episodes live. If you have a question for the Plus Platoon, please send us an email to plusplatoon@gmail.com or connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram @plusplatoon.
The Plus Platoon is a Disney Plus fan podcast and is not affiliated with the Walt Disney Company or the Disney Plus streaming service. All opinions expressed on the show are solely those of the individual hosts and in no way reflect the views of the Walt Disney Company.
Thanks for watching, and be sure to stay tuned for next week's episode because the Plus Platoon is to be continued.